One of the hardest parts about teamwork is that you have to work with people who oftentimes are very different from you. We all have unique personalities, skill sets, perspectives, and experiences that help to define our roles on the team. While these differences often create conflict, they are also the very thing we need in order to have a holistic approach to our work. It has been said, we are not a team because we work together. We are a team because we trust, respect, and care for each other. Having diversity on your team, and more importantly, valuing diversity on your team, can be the difference between success and failure on a project. I have here with me Jennifer Wilson, Life School's Chief Finance Officer, to help us dive more into valuing the diversity of our team members. Thank you for being here, Jennifer.
Good to be here.
Awesome. Now, we're diving into diversity. And I know many people may think the more similarities you have between your team members, the better they'll work together. Do you find that's true, or what's your opinion on that?
Well, I think it's great to have different opinions on our team, but before we can really value those opinions, we have to have a common mission or vision on our team. And so once that's established, then we can really learn and appreciate other people's perspectives.
Absolutely. And I know that you are certified through Gallup Strength Finding, and I know you've implemented those strengths and strength finding on your own team. Have you found that that's helped you celebrate the diversity of your team and in the end help your team work better for it?
Yes, strengths has really been our common language. We started using strengths really about 2 years ago, and we just have consistent conversations about what our top 5 themes are. And we use the StrengthsFinder language to articulate that to others, because sometimes what we do naturally, we just expect that everyone does those same things naturally.
Absolutely. You think, well, since I do it all the time, people should already know that about me, and you don't even think about how you're coming across to other people or how you feel when other people come across that way to you.
Right, yeah. Strengths is really about the way we naturally think, feel, and behave. And so knowing how you yourself naturally think, feel, and behave is so important in your interactions with others.
Absolutely. And it's very important also that we understand that just as when using strengths and understanding more about ourselves, we also need to make sure we're being aware of the others on our team, that we're not the only diverse person in the group of people we're working with. Am I right?
Right, yes. We have people on our team that are very different, yeah. And we see that in different situations that come up where some of us just want to get things done, yeah. And others want to talk about it more. Or some people think about how it would make others feel. Mm. And so we have to consider all of that, but it's really great for those of us who maybe don't have some of those strengths, absolutely, to be able to lean on others in those circumstances to say, well, how do you think that made someone feel? Because we don't always recognize that ourselves.
And when you're planning out a project or you've got something coming up that your team needs to accomplish, I imagine separating out those strengths and assigning different tasks based on what their strength is and highlighting that really helps make the team work more efficient and effective at getting those tasks completed.
Oh, yes. It was just the other day we were talking, and one person went to a training and loved it and just wanted to absorb more information and was just really excited about that opportunity. Conversely, there are other people on the team that would have been a drain on their day.
Now, I know I'm not the only person that sometimes, as great as diversity is, sometimes it does get in the way, and sometimes it does cause you to butt heads and have disagreements within your team, and I imagine it can put a damper on the morale when it happens within a team meeting. How would you handle that when the diversity does get in the way and it does hold you back from the task you're trying to accomplish in that meeting?
Yeah, it would be great to say that if you know everyone's strengths that you never have conflict, but that is not the case. You're always going to have conflict because our natural reactions come from who we are. And so we're going to have those natural reactions. Even when you're aware that you have a certain strength or a certain perspective on something, you're still going to have a reaction to that. And so sometimes we notice that right away in ourselves if we're very self-reflective, and sometimes we don't. And so in a meeting where everyone kind of understands each other, you kind of have the freedom to say something or, just interject something that will help the other person realize that that's happening at that moment. But sometimes you have to wait and have a private conversation later to talk about it.
And that's key. I know many administrators in the district and team leads that we have at all of our campuses, that's something that you need to know, that it doesn't always have to be accomplished within that one meeting. It's okay to take a break, to self-reflect, and then come back together maybe in a one-on-one session with your supervisor or director, and then continue moving and working towards those goals you're trying to achieve. Am I right?
Yeah, and when your team has learned strengths, a lot of times they can self-reflect on their own too, and they'll come back and talk to somebody on the team and apologize or, articulate what they were feeling or thinking at that moment, which that's what's great about StrengthsFinder is it's kind of this neutral language that you can use, and it makes it feel less personal, even though it is very personal.
Absolutely. And once we finally grasp these concepts of celebrating diversity and embracing it, I know that each and every one of our teams in the district are going to see immense growth in all the right areas, but it does take practice is what I'm getting from you, and it does take time and effort, just like developing any other skill. So Jennifer, is there anything else you'd like to mention or any examples you'd like to bring that involve celebrating diversity on our teams?
Yeah, well, there are some practical things that we've done in our meetings that I think other people could do as well. One activity which everyone was a little bit intimidated by at first, but we challenged each other to find a picture on the web or anywhere and use that picture to describe in words what our top 5 themes were and how they were described in that picture. And so one thing, you can read your Strengths Insight report and you can internalize that, but sometimes when you articulate it out, when you say it out loud, it starts to resonate with you a little more. And so that was the activity, was to find that picture, write out what you were going to say and how all of your themes could be represented in a picture, and then be able to stand up in front of your peers and say that out loud.
That sounds really good, and I can definitely see how that would help encourage finding your own strengths and then being able to tell others about the strengths that you found in yourself. And we encourage any team watching this to use these examples within your own team, whether it's now or you set a time aside later to take care of these tasks. They will all be used to help build that strength of diversity within your team. I just want to thank you, Jennifer, so much for taking time out of your day to be here with us. And I want to encourage you, if you're with your teams now, take a moment to pause the video and talk about ways that you can identify the strengths in yourself and relate them to your team members.